Roll up, ladies and gentlemen. One man went to mill. You know how it goes. Rumor has it, one man went to mill. Gather, come join my people. Where are you people? Roll up. One man went to mill. Gather. Say hello as you're coming in. One man went to mill. Gather, matters are rising. Them say. Come on, gather. One man went to mill. Plenty matters to discuss in this session, so gather. Buhari responds to the Pantami situation. We're discussing that. We're also discussing an incident that happened in Enugu with the HAUSA traders there holding up AK-47 to policemen. So we're discussing that. We're also discussing, this is by way of a light-hearted storyline, we're also discussing a comment made by our Senator SHEHU Sani, saying that Nigerian women seem to have more uncles than Nigerian men. So, of course, you know what he means by that when he's saying Nigerian women seem to have more uncles than men. So we'll have a joke and a laugh around with that, and you're welcome to narrate your examples of this to me. So I don't know where you want us to start, but maybe we should start with the Buhari's response to now this Pantami saga. Just pardon me while I just yeah. So let's just start it off with the Buhari response to the Pantami saga, and say hello as you are coming in. If you want to join in the live streaming, just click on the hyperlink. So this is it. As I stand behind Pantami, Buhari breaks silence, blast Nigerians. So already from the headline, you see that this is going to be a bit of a rubbish, because I stand by, it should say, not behind. But nevertheless, the headline again, I stand behind Pantami, Buhari breaks silence, blasts Nigerians. So now let's now see now what the head terrorist is saying in defense of his lieutenants. President Muhammadu Buhari has reacted to the backlash against Isa Pantami, the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy. Buhari declared his support for Pantami amidst the backlash from Nigerians. Pantami was recently linked to terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda and Taliban due to his past radical preaching. Following the emergence of his past, Nigerians have been calling for his sack and prosecution. Pantami, however, distanced himself from such extremist group. He also admitted making such controversial comments, but claimed that his perception has changed. Responding, Buhari berated Nigeria for their harsh disposition towards Pantami and some public officials. He stated this in a statement signed by his spokesman, SHEHU. The statement reads, "Today, there is an unfortunate fashion in the public discourse that makes leaders in politics, religion, and civil society liable in the present for every statement that they have ever made in the past, no matter how long ago, and even after they later rejected them. This insidious phenomenon seeks to cancel the careers of others on the basis of a thing that they have said, regardless of when they said it." The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, is currently subject to a cancel campaign instigated by those who seek his removal. They do not really care what he may or may not have said some 20 years ago. That is merely the instrument they are using to attempt to cancel him. But they will profit should he be stopped from making decisions that will improve the lives of everyday Nigerians. The minister has rightly apologized for what he said in the early 2000s. The views were merely the views were absolutely unacceptable then and would equally be unacceptable today were he to repeat them. But he will not repeat them, for he has publicly and permanently condemned his earlier utterances as wrong. In the 2000s, the minister was a man in his 20s. Next year, he will be 50. Time has passed and people and their opinions often rightly change. But all discerning Nigerians know this manufactured dispute is nothing to do with the minister's prior words, but solely concerns his action in the present. This administration is committed to improving the lives of all Nigerians, and that includes ensuring they are not overcharged or underprotected for those services which modern life depends. The minister has been leading the charge against illegal data deduction and pricing. He has revolutionized the government's virtual public engagement to respond to C-19 and save taxpayer money. He has established ICT startup centers to boost youth entrepreneurship and create jobs. He has changed policy to ensure locally produced ICT content is used by ministry. So let me just pause there for a moment, see what you guys are making of this. So what are you guys making of this? We only have a Higbe saying good morning so far, or good afternoon or good day. Let's use the Kano fashion. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. So hi is what Higbe is saying, but I am inviting people to click on the hyperlink to come interact with me live on stream. So we are going to Buhari's response to the terrorist that he has appointed as the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy. And Buhari is saying that he is backing this guy wholeheartedly because, of course, what this guy said, that he wants the beheading of every non-Muslim. He said it a long while ago, and he's a changed man now. So the man that is wanting the beheading of all Christians within the Nigerian space is the one that has been charged with gathering all the personal data of Nigerians. So of course their religions will be captured in that data, and they will know where the weight of the Christians are when they eventually seek to charge against them. So we take it from the top of that paragraph again. The minister has been leading the charge against illegal data deductions and pricing. He has revolutionized the government's virtual public engagement to respond to C-19 and save taxpayer money. He has established ICT startup centers to boost youth entrepreneurship, create jobs. He has changed policy to ensure locally produced. So it goes on and on to list what they perceive to be the achievement of this criminal element. In putting people first, the minister and his administration has made enemies. There are those in the opposition who see success and want it halted by all means. And there is now well-reported information that alleges newspaper editors rebuffed an attempt to financially induce them to run a smear campaign against the minister by some ICT companies, many of which do indeed stand to lose financially through lower prices and greater consumer protection. The government is now investigating the veracity behind these claims of attempted inducement, and should they be found to hold credence, police and judicial action must be expected. The administration stands behind Minister Pantami and all Nigerian citizens to ensure they receive fair treatment, fair price, and fair protection in ICT services. So this is absolutely, I mean, it is beyond alarming, of course, but then, of course, it is not at all surprising. The president of Nigeria, so-called, is saying that he's standing behind a man that is saying that he wants non-Christians or non-Muslims wiped out, that is in sympathy with Al-Qaeda, and that Osama bin Laden is his mentor, the guy that was chased out of university, a Muslim university, for being too radical, that has gone to lecture in the recruitment center of jihadists and was chased out of his local mosque for again being too extreme. So this is the guy that we're talking about. But then, of course, it's beyond shocking, of course. But then it's not at all surprising. But it's a real danger for the Nigerian person, this situation that we're contending with. Because, of course, this guy continues to gather data, and they have made it to the point that you have to submit that data for functioning, because they are linking your NIN to your SIM, to your SIM card, and of course, all of your data are captured in those two elements. So you would need your SIM card to be able to function for your phone. And anytime you have any interaction with authority, you would almost certainly need that NIN card too. So they are linking the two together, and they are having a jihadist who has vowed the extermination of non-Muslims from the surface of Nigeria. They are having that jihadist in charge of that database that collates all the information on Nigerian Christians. So this is the situation, alarming, shocking, but not at all surprising. It's like slowly driving to the scene of an accident which you are going to have. So your car is slowly headed towards that that stone wall, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. And you know that there are spikes in that stone wall, and you know that you'll be impaled, and you're slowly going to that scene of that accident, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Because, of course, people should not register anything with this guy as long as it's in that situation. And indeed, this guy should not even be in any other place other than a security services facility. But then, of course, it is Nigeria, and things are done in a particular and a peculiar sort of way. So what are you guys making of this? I am not hearing comments. I am hearing hello, so well done. Some text in Kem, it says, greetings, one man, a bit late. So better late than never. So glad to have you here. Ahigwe, he said hi. We've already seen that. But then all the other people in the room, nobody is really venturing to make a comment just yet. So that is the Buhari response to the clamor for the removal of Issa Pantami as the Minister of Digital Economy. So if nobody is wanting to come on stream and there are no comments on that, we just go straight on to the next narrative. This is a bit of a light-hearted one. This is a bit of a light-hearted one, and it's coming from the quarters of SHEHU Sani, Senator SHEHU Sani, of course, a guy that always infuses a bit of a intelligent but a gentle humor into the Nigerian space. So this is what SHEHU Sani has to say that is trending in the social media spaces within the Nigerian space at the moment. And I want to hear your feedback on this one as well. So SHEHU Sani is saying, it appears ladies have more uncles than guys. So this is SHEHU Sani saying this, Senator SHEHU Sani, the Kaduna State ex-senator who has since lost his seat in the last election. But what is now coming out to say is that how come all these women, especially the young pretty girls in Nigeria, they have all these countless uncles, but then of course their male counterparts, they only have an uncle or two. So we all know where it's headed with this particular comment. It says again, it appears ladies have more uncles than guys. Headline attributed to SHEHU Sani. So now let's now see how he describes this. Former senator representing Kaduna Central has taken to Twitter to shine, take that all over again. Former senator representing Kaduna Central has taken to Twitter to share his findings of ladies having more uncles than guys. According to SHEHU Sani, ladies always have uncles from my mother's side, uncles from my father's side, distant uncles, etc. So this is what he is stating. And of course, I know you all know where he's headed with this. So this is what he said. I may be wrong, but it appears ladies have more uncles than guys. Uncles from my mother's side, uncles from my father's side, distant uncles, etc. So we all know, of course, what the code name uncle means within the Nigerian space, that uncle. So let's just see now examples of how that uncle scenario plays out. So I mean, you all know examples of this, but let's look at this. You know, those they are something, they are anti-columns that you have in all these newspapers, where they just bring up all these fake stories and then some anti or supposed auntie answers it. So this is along those lines. So it says, "Dear Dorothy, my wife and I have been Dear Dorothy, my wife and I have been married for little over 3 years, but have been together for about 7 years. A few months after we started dating, no, let me take that all over again. Dear Dorothy, my wife and I have been married for a little over a year, but have been dating for about 7 years. A few months after we started dating, I met a friend of hers, a man whom she introduced as an uncle." So you know already where we're heading with this. She said it was his generosity that helped her through university. At first, I had no reason to doubt her introduction, as he was more than twice her age and married. You can imagine my shock after 3 years of marriage when I discovered that the so-called uncle was her sugar daddy. Of course, I had trusted her and married her, but she lied about the true relationship with her so-called uncle. I confronted my wife and asked her if she had ever slept with a man. She said no, never, that they were just friends. To compound matters, in the 3 years of our marriage, she has remained friends with her uncle. So that uncle is in quotation marks. So to compound matters, in the 3 years of our marriage, she has remained friends with her uncle, and he sometimes visited her when I am at work. So we already, I mean, this is just straight from Nollywood, isn't it? So I was never comfortable with his visits in my absence, but let it go, as I thought he was really her uncle. Now that I found out that he's really not her uncle and they have been both lying to me, I am really upset and do not trust my wife anymore. And now I don't know what to do. I feel betrayed, hurt, and extremely upset over her lying to me about this man. So now the uncle, of course, it's this is just a classic Nigerian storyline, isn't it? When people just start commercialize their being. So what are you guys making of this? I'm not getting the response, which tells me then that it's going to be a fairly short interaction. So I'll just probably end up reading out the stories and just leave it there. Hello, Coach Jim, watching from Israel. So welcome on board. I'm not sure if I didn't advertise this for long enough, but certainly you guys are not forthcoming with the responses. So that is that narrative. So now let's now see what answer this guy got. So this is the person now responding, the "Dear Dorothy, my dear, she lied to you. That is wrong. What do you want to do? Do you want to put an end to your marriage, or do you want to see how it can be salvaged? Most people find it difficult to forgive betrayal and work on rebuilding the relationship. You have to really think about how you feel about her betrayal, and if you can bring yourself to forgive her and rebuild your relationship. If your decision is to forgive and rebuild the relationship, she needs to do the following to earn back your respect. So the person then goes on to give him rather a series of advice. But then, of course, when your wife starts to introduce an uncle, then of course, then you start to have, especially when you are still at the dating stage, because of course you should know all her relatives before you marry her. So that is it, the classic Nigerian uncle. Let me just give you one more narration of that. So this is one on Twitter. Twitter user with the name Man Must Work has revealed a heartbreaking story of how his friend found out the dirty secrets of his wife. According to him, in just 4 months after their marriage, the guy discovered that the man who stood as relative and uncle to the girl actually was a sugar daddy. And the most painful part was that he knelt down and served him a drink, thinking he was family. So it's just an endless stream of this. I mean, this is just the classic Nigerian storyline, isn't it? The uncle from nowhere. So what Coach Jim is saying is that for me, I'm done with the marriage. Yes, I think it's more difficult actually for a man to forgive infidelity than for a woman to forgive infidelity, because in often instances, women, they can be persuaded to try and save their marriage, but then of course when a man discovers that some other guy has chanced his wife or girlfriend or whatever, it's a real struggle for a man to get past that. So that is just the differences between the gender as it manifests. So that's the narrative of the Nigerian uncle to the young pretty babes. This is something that we know them for, and yet they continue to introduce these uncles. But then, of course, they have to have uncles. But it's then to be able to demarcate then what the uncle is, because uncle comes in different categories and different brackets. So we go on to the last narrative, since the place is a bit sparse and nobody seems to want to chime in. So this is a narrative now of what's happened in Enugu State between the HAUSA traders and the police. So the headline: HAUSA traders chase police, government officials with AK-47 in Enugu. So this is just tapping into the endless stories of our weaponized society that we have in Nigeria now, with everybody fully armed, especially the people from the north, and the powder keg of explosive that is the Nigerian state, waiting just to be triggered. Again, the headline: HAUSA traders chase police, government officials with AK-47 in Enugu. So now let's not see how this played out. Some officials of the Enugu state government were reportedly attacked by some HAUSA cattle traders on Thursday whilst discharging their duties. It was gathered that the incident happened when the government officials and some officers of the Nigerian police force visited the artisan market yesterday to carry out a demolition following an order from the state high court. Correspondents understand that the court had declared the market as a security threat due to its proximity to the government house, hence the verdict for demolition. The cattle traders, according to reports, also destroyed the police vehicle during the chase. Further reports alleged that the HAUSA traders fiercely resisted the government officials as they brought out several AK-47 rifles to attack policemen accompanying the government officials, bringing the attempt to demolish the market to a halt. Speaking on the incident, an eyewitness who gave his name as Samson Okorie told correspondents that the gun-wielding HAUSA traders also seized 2 bulldozers the state government deployed to the market and destroyed police Hilux vehicle. The vehicle, according to him, was abandoned by the police, who ran for their lives when they could not escape with it. I was opposite the market when the 4 police vehicles with about 10 policemen arrived at the place with people suspected to be government officials. Earlier in the day, 2 bulldozers were deployed to the area, the eyewitness told correspondents. He added further, shortly after the police arrived, there were several gunshots in the air. I came out from the shop where I was and saw people scampering for safety. The policemen were on the run. The next thing I saw was gun-wielding traders who came out and blocked the NNPC end of Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway and stopped vehicular movement just as they set up bonfires along the expressway. When the atmosphere became tense, I moved out of the area. The state commissioner of police, so this is the state commissioner of police now for Enugu. So this then underpins everything that is going on in that space. The state commissioner of police, Mohammed Aliyu, whilst confirming the incident to reporters on telephone, described the action of the trader as unfortunate. So gun-wielding, AK-47 wielding HAUSA traders in Enugu fighting away policemen, and the head, of course, of the police service in Enugu is a man called Mohammed XYZ. So Mohammed XYZ, of course, been asked to weigh down upon his people, something that would never happen. I wonder what's happened to Okechukwu in the police forces. Can Okechukwu not be the commissioner of police in Enugu State? I wonder, because certainly Okechukwu can never be the commissioner of police in Sokoto State or Kebbi State. So why is then Mohammed Aliu the commissioner of police in Enugu State? But then, of course, this is the facilitation that enables Hausa men to carry AK-47 freely around the markets of Enugu State. So let's round it off. The State Commissioner of Police, Mohammed Aliyu, whilst confirming the incident to reporters on the telephone, described the actions of the traders as unfortunate. Aliyu noted that the traders had a meeting with the state governor, Mr. Ifeanyi Agunyi, on Wednesday night, when they agreed to move out of the market on Thursday. Meanwhile, President Buhari has on Thursday condemned the attack on a community in Zamfara State that saw residents of the community killed. So that is effectively the narrative of the goings on in what's it called? Goings on in Enugu State, where the whole place is surrounded by Hausa AK-47 wielding Hausa people, and of course the commissioner of police of that space is an Hausa man himself. So so that's pretty much the gist of it. Let's see. Let me just round off that story of that guy that I was narrating, the one that ended up kneeling down for the sugar daddy of his wife. So let me just give you that story in full again. Guy got married, and within 4 months, this NIGGA asked for a divorce and said the babe should leave. Everybody asked him what happened. My guy refused to say anything. 2 years after, this guy just to tell me what happened. Anyway, the person when stand as witness in their court wedding is the babe's sugar daddy. Man said what pained him the most is that the babe made him carry wine to the man's house as per uncle. I want to marry her. Oh, he went thinking he was really her relative, not knowing say na family benefactor when her full family know. He hasn't been able to tell his family. Why? Because of shame. With the hair, laugh out loud, etc. So it's just the unfortunate going on. It's almost it's a difficulty for a Nigerian girl from a average to lower income family to go through the university system without partaking in the sugar daddy industry. It is almost I cannot see how that journey is made within the Nigerian space. Okay, so what are people saying? So Coach Jimmy is saying it is infidelity. Coach Jimmy again says, for me, I'm done with the marriage. Well, that's easily said, but then of course, you see, living a marriage is not just you being fed up with that marriage. There are other permutations that goes into living a marriage, because of course, if there are children involved, then that is a consideration. Then of course, you have to give consideration to how exactly you are going to explain your exit to your family and friends, and the family and friends of your partner, etc., etc. So it's just not a matter of I'm fed up with the marriage, I am leaving. There's a lot of consideration that goes into that decision before that final move is made. In fact, you should even really, in most instances, seek consultation before you seek to depart from a marriage. So J China, bro, I hope you now believe that MNK is part of the solution. Part of the solution to what? And what is the purpose of that statement, Jay? Because I don't really understand why you have felt the need to say that. I'm not quite sure how MNK comes into the storyline. Let me see. Do I bring you guys a bonus story, or do I just round it off here? Because I'm not sure if it's because I did not advertise. Okay, since we are in the area of levity, and it's a bit of a jocular session that we're having, let me bring you this narrative which is quite is silly, but then of course it is important to to this person. This is a complete departure from what we usually do on this channel, but nevertheless amusing. Nigerian lady set to divorce husband over issues of her having too big, you know, I don't know how to, yeah. So Nigerian lady set to divorce her husband over issues of part of the man's body being too big. Let's put it that way. So a Nigerian lady is set to divorce her husband because there are parts of the man's being that she finds too excessive. A Nigerian lady by name Aisha Nupawo has made some moves at the Sharia court to her divorce. Let me take that all over again. A Nigerian lady by name Aisha has made some moves at the Sharia court to divorce her husband over issues of an excessively large part of his body. The divorce issue is coming after a week of marriage. So this is... The lady says that twice she and her husband have attempted copulation, but it wasn't an amazing experience for her. She also revealed that her mother also told her to continue with the marriage because she'll get used to the oversized part of her husband's physicality. According to Aisha, she says she doesn't feel comfortable with her husband's potency. The second time they attempted copulation, she ended up using native means due to the pains that she got from that process. Aisha, in her statement, revealed that as tradition demanded, she first moved into her parents' house and finally into her husband's home, where they had intercourse. She said, when he came, we had copulation, but the experience was a nightmare. Instead of enjoying the process, it turned out to be something else because of the size of our parts of his body. It was then I knew I could not continue with the marriage because of the size of a certain part of his body. So this is a woman now alarming. I know this is completely... So I know this is completely left field from what we usually do, but we have gone through the stories for today, and nobody seems to be wanting to chime in. So we're just going through stories really that's just out there to just see what is recording in the news. So that's the thing. So MC Olomo's son, he chimes in asking people not to be ashamed of their family, but then of course, if your father is Adolf Hitler, I suppose even Hitler's son will probably take some pride in his notoriety. So, I mean, what are you guys making of the session so far is the question. Buhari responds to the Pantami situation, and he tells Nigerians to get lost, that he has no intentions of sacking the guy because the guy made those comments 30 years ago or 20 years ago. That the guy made the comments in his 20s, they said, and the guy is going to be 50 next year. So clearly, our time has passed and views have changed. But all the people that this guy had killed, what of course then is their recourse to justice is the question. So that is the Pantami narrative. And then we went to a jokey little tweet that Senator SHEHU Sani put out in the media space, to say that Nigerian women seem to have more uncles than Nigerian men, and you of course know the sort of uncles that pretty young girls in Nigeria. You know the sort of uncles that they have, uncles in quotation marks. You know, so the uncles that pays for this and the uncles that pay for that. I was watching watching or reading somewhere some time ago that apart from their main partner, the average pretty young girl in Nigeria has about 3 or 4 other so-called uncles in their black book. So the one that pays for this and the one that pays for that. So that apparently is what is going on in that particular market space. So I'll be seeking to round off here because you guys are not chiming in and the engagement is not there. So so yes, I will seek to round off here because you guys are not chiming in and the engagement is not there. So I'll just go through the stories that we've gone through again. Buhari responds to the Issa Pantami story, tells Nigerians to get lost, that he has no intentions of sacking the guy. And then we spoke about, of course, AK-47 wielding HAUSA traders in Enugu State, who to the point that they chased away the police that were sent to enforce a court verdict within that space. So the Enugu space effectively overrun now by not this time Fulanis, but Hausa AK-47 wielding Hausa people. And then we landed on a narrative, a jocular tweet put out in the space by Senator SHEHU Sani that the Nigerian female seems to have more uncles than the Nigerian male for whatever reason. And we all, of course, know what those uncles are all about. And then we had like a bonus little story of a person that was just like left her marriage just after a day or two, because of course, at the moment she got to that matrimonial togetherness, that in the course of the night, she found that the guys it was too I don't know, it was too potent for her delicate being. So that was just like a silly little story that we added on as a bonus. So I invite people to still come on stream, but of course, you people are just anyway. I'm going to close it there. So those have been the stories. So I'll leave it here. I'll carry this conversation on with you in the comment section. But here, I say, peace.